think of another place. Come with me, let's have a smoke break. Nah, it's just a normal break. Let's smoke break.
Did a regular one?
Smoke break. Smoke.
30 seconds and counting.
There were plenty of years where there were guys who would dread being drafted by the Buffalo Bills. Not anymore.
Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds.
Brandon Beane realizes they're in a window of 2 to 3 years max to get this done while the iron's still hot. And getting Von Miller into that situation was big for the Bills.
10, 9.
Oh, baby.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Great interview, guys.
Playing the wrong music. Oh, baby. What is up, Buffalo Fanatics? Z-Bot here with you. Live on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Monday night. And it can only mean one thing. It is the smoke break. I got a live studio audience in my damn studio right now. I got my girlfriend twerking over here. Got my best buddy Nels over here having an aneurysm. They think this is a game. They think this is a game here on the smoke break. Little do they know this is a full-blown, high-definition production. They got to let the boy get to work. Close the door. Don't let it hit your butt behind you. Nels and Carol, especially you, Nels. He's got that big butt. He's got that big butt. Speaking of big stuff, we got a big show for you tonight. And by we, of course, I got to use the plural when I'm talking about the show tonight because I got my main man, my brother from another mother, my Canadian dog, Rico.
Oh, baby. Listen, I can't do it. I can't do it. You rock that.
That one, you got that. You can do that one. You know, you're good at that.
Listen, I like it. I mean, that's your thing. That's your stick. My voice is deep, and I just can't do it. I gotta find another angle.
I got a bad throat going right now too. So I already had a throat thing going. First 2 Dave Matthews shows of the summer were over the weekend, so my throat it's on life support right now. But we always find a way, Rico, and we will tonight because it's the summer break, and we got a banger for you tonight, folks. Before we get into it, Rico, how you doing, my brother?
Brother, I'm doing great. I mean, I had an early sleep today, so I have a little bit of energy before I go to work today. So what is up, people? Hey, what's happening? Ready to go. Let's do this.
Welcome into the smoke break, ladies and gents. You might be wondering, you typically get you get my background every show. Obviously, I got my bot cave in here, but we do have a couple of new guys you might see right here. I don't know if you know, Rico.
Oh, watch out.
But the action figure collection expanded over the weekend. The new JA and Stephon Diggs are in stock. Have you seen them?
Let's go.
Want to check them out? Hold on.
Listen, bring it right to the forefront, my man. And while Z-Bot is grabbing that and bringing that to the forefront, what's up, everybody, man? Smash that like while you guys are in the building right now. It's your boy Bot, it's your boy Rico, and we're gonna give you guys a show tonight. Listen, Namdi put a comment in there.
Yeah. So this is the only one within reaching distance, but you can see behind me. You can see above my shoulder. We got the 2 new JAs right there. Now the difference this year, Rico, instead of running the ball, JA's tossing it. Now we got them in all different actions. Now we just need the hurdle one. The limited edition. But this is the first ever Buffalo Bills Stephon Diggs action figure. Of course, we're going to keep it behind plastic, Rico, because when them rings make their way to Buffalo, this tastes weight in gold, brother.
Do you have a separate account for just to buy gadgets and toys? And you got to, man.
I should. I have one account that bleeds continuously, and I spend it on stupid shit. And then when the real stuff comes around, you try to figure. It's not a matter of how am I going to pay for the bill stuff. It's a matter of how am I going to pay for the real stuff.
Yeah. Z-Bot been playing. Listen, man, he's been working overtime.
Listen, I have been working overtime because we had put in a hell of a week last week. Speaking of overtime, we did a little extra on the side as we like to do this time of year. We get into the meat and potatoes of the summer here with the season right around the corner, and what is now tradition the last 3 years. We get together out in Buffalo for a very special event, and tonight we're going to share with you all the ins and outs of that event from last week. If you didn't know, if you weren't following our socials last week, me and Rico linked up out in Buffalo. Last week, we had an absolute ball. It'd be easier to tell you what we didn't do. We made the most of it. Rico flew in all the way from Nova Scotia and took off the next day. I thought I had a bad driving up from Connecticut, but my man right here put in, he literally chartered a flight to come see.
Up at the airport. It was in and out, man. Business as usual, man. Just fly in, handle business. But next time I'm going to make it my business to stay a little longer.
Yeah.
Tour Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? It really
sounds a B-Lo. No, you got to take it all in, baby.
I got to tour Buffalo. I got to take it all in, man. I don't know where I'd go. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't know where you'd go either. I'll tell you where we did go. We went to Bar Bill, and I got to tell you right next time Rico's in town, if he does stay for longer, we'll go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We'll make a whole triple header out of it. Before we get into what we did, we're already on the topic of Bar Bill. Why don't you go ahead and let them know you did a little something different this time around? You went with the other Bar Bill staple that you hadn't had before. Go ahead and tell everybody your thoughts on the beef on weck.
If you're in Buffalo and you're not from Buffalo, it's a must. I mean, at least for me, it was it's at the end of my bucket list. And my bucket list is not very long, but you got to try the beef on weck. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, first of all, beef on weck sounds mad sus. It just sounds weird. Beef on weck. You know what I'm saying? What you going to have? I'm going to have a beef on weck. That just sounds weird to me. It just sounds weird me saying it now. Anyway, so my mans and I, we went to Bar Bill. And you know what? We'll even jump into who we met at Bar Bill. But anyway, so we go to Bar Bill and we're hanging out, and I'm about to Cajun butter barbecue. Am I going to say it? Because I get it wrong.
No, but I like how you do it. You never get it right, but I like how you do it because you. I had
the Cajun butter barbecue buffalo wing. Anyway, whatever that is, that shit is fire. Anyways, we got that, and I was like, wait a minute. When in Rome, you just got to do it, right?
Yeah,
so I'm like, not only will I do the wings, throw me that beef on whack. Let's go. Put that shit on deck. Let's happen it. So, ladies, like, well, did you want a mini?
I didn't even know they did that. You got the sampler set. You got the kiddie menu on it.
Well, listen, Vic, I'm not about to jump in and order a large beef on whack when it could be some trash. So I was like, you know what? Just toss me that mini. I'm already polish these wings off. So toss me that mini. So she brought me the mini, and I was like, all right. So all I've been hearing about beef on whack is that the bun is like a nice flavored salty bun.
Kimmel wet.
That pause. And I said, let me grab that salty bun.
Let me tell you what, man. Rico all day he said, "Man, I can't wait to get I can't wait to wrap my mouth around those salty buns."
So here's my disappointment, though. I'm gonna be real. I'll tell you what my disappointment is. If you let that beef on wax sit too long on that paper, it can become soggy at the bottom. You can't have soggy beef on wax. That's number one. Number two, I was expecting like a side of fries or something. Boy, they opened up a mini bag of Lay's chips and dumped it on a plate and said, "Here you go, sir."
In this economy.
And not even a full bag. They didn't even just go open a full bag, a handful of that. They opened a mini, dumped it, and said, "Here you go, sir. There's your beef on whack."
Yeah, it was kind of like, remember the school lunch you get when you go on a field day or a field trip, and they cater it, and you get like it reminds me of the pizza parties when we were in school, where it's like, all right,
little sandwich chips.
You're looking forward to it all week. They cut a large pizza into 40 slices. And you're like, yo,
you get a square. You don't even get a triangle. You get a square.
I know. I said, I know I'm 10 years old, but I'm still pushing like 2 bills here. I'm a grown ass man inside of my stomach. But you got the taste of it. I think that's all you wanted. You weren't looking for the whole thing. You just wanted a little taste of Buffalo. That's all you were looking for.
Listen, a taste of Buffalo. I got the taste of Buffalo. Pause. And I'm gonna tell you this, man. You just can't let it get soggy. You still want that crisp bread, and you dip it into that au jus. And it was actually, listen, I'm gonna give it like a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Depending on maybe different places make them better. I don't know. So I'm gonna start with a 7 out of 10. It is all right. And now we polish off them wings and we call it a day.
See, to me, the tried and true was always the Red Osier at the Red Wings games. Now, I know I'm probably speaking a foreign language to you, but the Red Wings is like, that's the minor league team for the Minnesota Twins. That's in Rochester.
Okay.
Red Osier is like a Rochester thing. That's the exact same thing, almost. The exact
Red
same
Osier.
thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I grew up on for the beef on whack. But I mean, either way, but I feel like Bar Bill, they could. I mean, I don't know, man. They could grab a pack of ramen and find a way to make. I don't know what they're doing back there. I don't know what they got going on. I don't know how no one's been able to copy that sauce. No one's been able to copy the blue cheese. And I'll tell you another thing, too. I don't know where they're getting these wings either. I bought a bag of frozen wings the other day from the grocery store. I mean, you would have thought this was like part of a Lego set. I mean, these things, it wasn't even right, Rico. I mean, it was almost like I was getting punked. Each wing was like the size of like half of your pinky.
Yeah, can't do it.
And it's just like, you're just sitting there and you're like, and the thing is, like, when you know how good a real good wing is, obviously, it's like, it makes it a million times worse.
I don't do frozen wings anymore, brother. I go and get wings from the store, clip the tips, slice that. I mean, sometimes people keep the wing and drum together. I drum and flat and spice it myself, throw in the air fryer, call it a day. It's bomb. You know what I'm saying? Frozen wings, cool, but you can get way more done. And
you're getting like the
celebrated for it.
You're getting like the fresh ones, like
fresh cut.
Right,
do it yourself, season it, toss that, do what you need to do it, throw in the air fryer, call it a day. Bob's your uncle. Let's go.
Listen, I think I got what I paid for. You buy a bag of frozen wings from Aldi's, it's not going to be Michelin star. I think that's pretty much expected.
Pierre says you didn't get chicken wings, you got chicken nuggets. That's what you got.
I think it's and I couldn't agree more with them. Although, at least there was the wing, the bone within the wing. I mean, there's nothing on earth I hate more than boneless wings. I think anybody who orders boneless wings is just an absolute child. If you are an adult who orders boneless wings, it better not be around me. And I got some good buddies who do it. And I'll tell you what, they hear about it from me every time. Every time.
Speaking of sucking the bone off the meat, Mr. Z-Bot, you got a good opportunity to. I couldn't even get a straight face there. You had a good opportunity to clean a chicken wing, one shot, boom.
Yeah.
Talk to people how, like, is there a proper way of eating a wing?
Well, see,
a flat at that.
It's funny because this is like my carnival act. But it isn't very it's not like Barnum and Bailey amongst the Buffalo Crew, because they do it as well. But when I pull that out in front of the college friends, the girlfriend's family, I mean, you would think I was doing some Chris Angel.
Yeah.
Dude, they line up to see that. Everybody gets the phones out. They gotta wait. I gotta wait till it's the optimal temperature, and I play it up. Of course, I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure that I make it seem as though I have very specific parameters in order to pull off my act, because I am a showman. I can't just do it out of nowhere. I got to have my material.
You clean that thing quick.
Now, let me tell you what, I knew the lights and cameras were on at West Herr Media Day. I knew the Fanatics crew, and I know the following we got these days. I knew it was either strip it clean or get clowned. And I had one take and I murdered it, as I always do. And I've had about a 15-year practice run before that moment, Rico. So I think I lived up to the expectation.
Brother, I'm gonna say, I wish I had this set up, because I would have just put the camera on and just post that video. But you know what? If you do want to see it out, go on our Twitter page right now, Buffalo Fanatics, and you will see Bot clean bone. Let's go.
You will see me absolutely disintegrate bone. And the thing of it is I don't do that like just for fun. Like, that is how I eat them. I'll actually never forget. So my best friend Josh and his older sister Corinne, I'll never forget the first time I did that in front of her. I swear to God, like, it was like she just saw
it'll be the equivalent of like if you were at the Y and like Steph Curry was doing shoot around, and you're kind of just sitting there and you're like, you're witnessing history, you're witnessing greatness, right? Like you're witnessing probably the best pure shooter in the history of the game. She was sitting there and she's like, I'm witnessing probably the best wing eater that this planet. And she just looked at me like, and I couldn't, and then she just had me keep doing it and doing it. Next thing you know, she told all her friends about it, right? And then, like, dude, now I swear to God, every time there's things around and there's a certain crew, I have to do it. And they all gather around. But the crew in here, I'm sure there's a million people in here watching. They do it too. And I just want you to know that that is our thing in Buffalo. Even down to Rochester, they still can't do it.
Let's go.
And
it's a skill.
If you can do it, it's a skill. And I want you to capitalize on it. Because let me tell you what, it is not as easy as people like myself make it seem. Because I am a pro. I am an absolute veteran.
And we end that with a big old pause. And great job by my guy, Bot.
Thank you.
My man, cleaning bone. Let's go. So, but you know what? We also cleaned house in that place. And we had several Bills players that were there. And we
should set the stage here. I think we haven't really set the stage. And I was going to ask you as well. I think, should we start with our nice, fun tidbits, our stories, and then we'll get into the interviews?
You know what? Let's get to the tidbits.
All right.
Let's get to the tidbits.
Yeah, let's set the stage here for you, as the thumbnail suggests. And we're not just being hyperbolic here. You know us. We'll shoot you straight, even though some of you thought we weren't the last time out, by the way. And me and Rico had a very long discussion about this in person.
Yep.
We are straight shooters, damn it. The Ed Oliver stuff last week, Rico. I'm not getting into it. I'm just saying we're not here to steer you wrong. If you think otherwise, you're full of it. You're full of it. So with that said, these two interviews are bangers, man. Bangers. To the point where, one, Dawson Knox, one of the nicest freaking guys of all. And I feel like I tell you guys this every time I sit down with a player. I feel like I tell you guys this. But it's the God's honest truth, man. These guys, they're just A1 dudes. A1 dudes. And I'll tell you what, Dawson Knox is like A1 plus. I mean,
big fan.
Rico, I mean, that guy is just he's just a great freaking guy.
And you know what?
To put it.
And you see these players up close and personal, and you can just tell these guys are meant to be where they're at.
No
doubt. See the size of Dawson Knox. Dawson Knox is not a small man whatsoever.
Dude, he's a big boy. Ripped. Okay, he is ripped.
Big boy. And you know what? You got to put the work in if you're going to play that tight end position in the game, man. Yeah. And these are great freaking athletes. You got to give it to them. Dion Dawkins, the pause on that man. This guy had pause on him, man. So you got
to see. He had me shaking in my boots a little bit, didn't he, Rico?
He had my man Bot
for a second.
He looked at Bot and said something to Bot, and Bot. I'm gonna let Bot talk about that. But we had an incredible time. Josh Allen was in the building, and he was they were doing their thing. They're shooting, and we had a great time at the Legacy House. Shout out to the Legacy House for real.
Big time, no doubt.
Y'all got an amazing facility, man. We walked in, Bot and I walked in there. We're like, okay, like this is legit. This is where our creator's dream would be. You know what I'm saying? You have a facility to do everything under the sun. And we saw that and we just immediately started thinking, I was like, man, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. Yeah. So shout out to Legacy House, big things. And we had quite a day, man. And going back to Dawson Knox being such a nice individual, just everything you can think of that is positive about a person is there. So that's why it becomes difficult. And I got to say this because we behind the and I'm talking about, let's not talk about Bot and I being, you know, on a podcast, and we at home when we see these players are performing, and I'll take fault at that as well. We are very quick to come out and dog on a player. You know what I'm saying? And this, that, and the third, and this guy didn't play well. And there's being honest, there's being critically honest, and then there's just trashing individuals, right? And you don't forget, but it slips your mind how these players scroll every day. They're on their phone just like us every day, and they see the stuff that the mafia will put out, good and bad. And just like any normal person, you'll see the bad more than you see the good, right? And not because it stands out. There might be like you said, Bot, there could be 10,000 great things being said, but you'll catch that 5, and that 5 will kind of put you in your feels, right? Yeah. So, but when you see these players you see like the hard work they put in. I mean, the things they got to go through. I mean, the competition that's brought in, and the pressure pressure of the game. So you got to give them credit. You almost have to almost pull back a little bit on getting personal. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pull back because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, they feel like we feel. You feel me? So but we took a lot from that in these interviews. But honestly, man, couldn't have asked for a better two individuals to sit and talk to. It was a great time.
So that's down the pipeline later on. We had about 30 minutes with Dawson Knox. Felt like 5. He was an awesome chat. We got a little bit of everything from him, including everything we wanted to ask him, including Dalton Kincaid. We talked to Dawson Knox about Dalton Kincaid. There was no way Rico and I were going to sit down with him and not talk about it. And the reason before that is because neither Rico and I look at that as even remotely close to a negative. That is why we wanted to talk to Dawson Knox about it, as well as what we might expect to see from Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, this offense in general going forward into the year. Awesome stuff from Dawson Knox. We'll share that later on in the show. And then just to retouch on Dion Dawkins, just the most out of left field interview. I never saw it coming. He brought an energy that he always has. Except it was in a different light. And I think we got a different side of Dion this time around to show you just exactly what Rico was just talking about. And that's, you can be the greatest guy on the planet. And I'm a firm believer that Dion Dawkins, when it comes to athletes, is one of those guys. I have said that on here a million times. I have told that to him personally multiple times. He is truly one of my all-time favorite Buffalo Bills. He let us know. He let everybody know what that background is like, being a at this point, a veteran in this league on a team with high expectations, blocking for a quarterback that is destined to be a Hall of Famer. He dives into it all. And Rico and I, it's tough to get us to not open our mouths. Dion took over the show. Rico and I didn't do a whole lot of talking, and it was great. It was awesome. So we'll have that.
And sometimes it is that way.
Yeah.
And I remember starting this off, started doing podcasting, and wifey and I were sitting there. We were going live on Facebook, and for the first time, we're going live on Facebook, and like I had like 5 people watching, and she's like, "Babe, look, you got 5 people watching." I was like, "Oh shoot, that's dope!" Like first time going live and all that stuff, right? And over time, you start to get comfortable behind it, and when I started kind of interviewing players and so on and so forth, a lot of the times at the beginning, I was trying to take over, and my wife's like, "Yo, shut your mouth and let them speak." You know what I'm saying? You gotta just let them speak, because like you start cutting them off, and it's the excitement, right? The excitement, you're trying to get it all out there, right? So, and I bring this up because there wasn't really need for us to say much in the Dion Dawkins interview. He just asked a couple questions and let him go. And when he went, he revealed some things where like, okay, I didn't see it that way. That's a great perspective.
No, I didn't know it existed.
My friend, I'm telling you right now, if when we give you guys the opportunity to dive into the Dion Dawkins interview, do you want to even call it an interview? It was more like, floor is yours, my guy.
I mean, that's what it was. And Absolutely. It was terrific, because I personally didn't see it coming from him. And I also really appreciated the perspective, because he is the type of guy to tell you what he thinks. There's no filter. And that's not a bad thing. He's not a guy that needs a filter, because he's just not that type of guy. He just lets you know he's real. And that was just off the cuff, off the chest, and from the heart. And that was just a terrific sit down with Dion. So we will dive into that later on in the show, and then we'll recap just kind of our thoughts on it, because I personally strung it together, and I just wanted to say this. So tonight, these 2 interviews, we're putting them out right here on the show tonight, but these are raw and they're unedited. I'm going to have full edited graphics, high-end quality audio, all that coming down the line later this week. We're also going to cut these up into shorts. So make sure to have us followed on all the platforms. You're going to get a ton of awesome content coming your way from these 2 interviews later on this week. And you're going to want to check it out, because I personally, like we said, we're not just gassing it up, man. These were 2 really great interviews with a lot of awesome info and a lot of different perspectives that I was not expecting to see. Rico, there's one thing I want to talk about. We're not going to reveal the source, because there's absolutely no need to do it. There's no need to reveal the source in this particular circumstance. I just, in thinking back on it, I don't think he would mind. It's just that I think that it's better left unsaid, because I think it's better to pontificate on the idea of what we heard. And I think it's better to know that without knowing the direct source, because I just think it's I don't know. I don't know how you feel, but I think it's funner to look at it that way. I don't want to throw the guy under the bus because what we heard there was a lot we took away from this media day. It was awesome. And we'll tell stories throughout the show tonight. There was plenty of awesome, funny, hilarious things that happened and whatever. But we met a lot of cool people there, talked to a lot of cool people. And with that, we got a lot of cool inside info about things that me and Rico might not be privy to otherwise. I think right now, the biggest thing on everybody's mind going into the season, or one of at least, is what is Dalton Kincaid going to bring to this team? He is now the first round pick these Buffalo Bills have drafted on the offensive side of the ball since Josh Allen. And I know for me, I personally am dying to see if he is going to be that new piece to this offense that is truly just a flat out weapon, an X factor. It doesn't matter if he's a wide receiver, tight end, running back. Is he going to be that? Rico and I simultaneously, we heard from a very reliable source who got this from another very, very reliable source. Okay.
Source on source.
Yeah. We're talking two good sources here. And Rico, I haven't stopped thinking about this. I told you when we heard it, I said, I'm not going to stop thinking about this. Rico and I were told from a very reliable source that Dalton Kincaid, merely 2 weeks into practice, is looking like, quote, a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Rico, when you heard that, given the way in which we were told it, based on the knowledge in which we were given from a reliable source, I personally, it was the last thing I expected to hear. Frankly, because it sounds absurd, but it wasn't like there was just being smoke grabbed at. It wasn't just like it was being thrown in the ether for no reason. We were told this because this was something that it has made itself known to those in the know through the first few weeks. When you first heard that, Rico, I mean, you and I were together, but take me back to where you were when you kind of ran that through your mind a bit.
Well, listen, when you hear that, you're like, what? Nah, man, that's way too early, man. Oh, you bugging. But when you sit back down and you kind of like understand, okay, hold on a second. I mean, I'm gonna try to use an analogy here. Is I don't know, what's the best way I can? You're a tradesman, right? You've been in the trades business for a very long time, right? Maybe you're a plumber, electrician, whatever the case is. Young kid comes out of college or whatever, and you're seeing this kid do things where a veteran would have been doing this, and it took that veteran 10 to 15 years of, learning the trades of the plumbing business. And this person is just hitting everything, and just to a point where you're looking at this person like, dude, how, like, it's not going to take you long to take over this business and run this thing. Right. And that's the best way I could kind of explain what was explained to us in terms of what Kincaid will bring to the table. And when you hear that, you're like, really? Okay, this is exciting. And now you almost understand, okay, that's why we traded up. We traded up for him because, like, we're not going to let this slide. And the fact that this player was able to slide all the way down to our pick, we're not screwing this up. And if you trade up for a player like that, you're going to use this player. And I'm looking very much forward to seeing what Kincaid is going to bring to the table. And I was just on a recent show. Shout out to the TSS boys, Commissioner Cooper. Salute to you, my Miami Dolphins brother. And we were on a fantasy show, and they were asking about the tight end position and rookie tight ends. And most people are like, man, we don't touch rookie tight ends. And I'm sitting here going, that would be a big mistake if you don't grab Kincaid early. I mean, I don't know how early you guys grab tight ends, but don't sleep on them and wait till, the 9th round, or if you think you can grab them that late. If you can, that's a steal, because I think he's going to be an impactful player on this Bills team, and it's going to be fun. And when we go through this interview with Dawson Knox, you will hear how we chatted up and how he even spoke of the players around the team and how he speaks on his teammate. And it's gonna be fun, man. It'll be fun when you guys have a chance to go through it.
I'm seeing a lot of comments right now that are very justifiable. It is exactly the same thought I had. I just want to say this. This info was passed down from a long time person around the league. That's what blew my mind. It wasn't like it was told to us by somebody who pulled up to camp for an hour and said, oh, we just drafted Kincaid. Oh my God, he's a Hall of Famer. This was passed down by somebody who has seen a lot of football in his day. And the info given to us was, one, he could be a potential first ballot Hall of Famer. Two, he has some of the best hands that this person has ever seen. I'm getting chills right now just talking about it, because I just was not expecting to hear that at all. And the fact that that's even being put into the ether as a suggestion 2 weeks, 3 weeks into practice by those that are closest to the league. That, to me, Rico, I mean, you and I looked at each other. We started laughing. Like the comments right now. You know, it's like, Cap, you and me look at each other like, all right, well, where's the punchline? There wasn't one.
We're right. Listen, we were just the same.
Yes.
Just the same as you guys were like, what? Really? Nah, come on, you tripping. No, relax. Everybody settle down.
Yes.
You start hearing around the room of like, okay, different people are saying, this is what I see. This is what, and reliable sources say. You're like, okay, you start piecing things together. Like, okay, this is kind of the real deal for real.
Yeah.
But Bot and I are more like, okay, this sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, believe me, we had our grain of salt. We both sat down. We said, I told Rico, I said, you know what? This is going to be the biggest issue for me, because I'm not going to forget this. And the problem with that is I need to forget this, because he has not played a snap. I can't hear this, but now that I've heard it, I mean, but the thing, I want to just go back to this. The thing of it all is that this was, and me and Rico had been over this ad nauseum by now since the draft. This, for some reason, I personally still do not know why, but for some reason, this was a controversial, polarizing pick. I did not think it was. And the fact that even though I didn't think it was, a lot of people did. When you are hearing, and this isn't just from what we had heard as well, you can just go online right now. Plenty of people are saying Dalton Kincaid shines in the first 2 weeks of OTA. I mean, that's been kind of being passed around by the news outlets that have had an ability to look. This is something that we took a chance on, and it was a chance taken with a high probability for success compared to what we thought would be available for that probability of success in that point of the draft. To hear things like this and to have expectations such as this for a young man. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say he needs to live up to him or not, but the fact that we have that even being talked about, that I can think about that and I can look forward to a guy coming onto this team who has people already saying things like that. I mean, I'm not going to not be stoked about it. I'm not going to measure the guy on it, but you better believe it's got me beyond stoked to see what we're in store for coming up this season.
Well, listen, you can even go as far as like, it's okay. And some people are like, let me temper my expectations,
right,
which is completely fine. It is normal to temper expectations because not a snap has been played, right? And there is such thing called busts, right? Where we have high expectations with someone and they don't turn out how they want us to, right? But then there are players that you just flat out know that they're going to be nice. You just flat out know that they're going to be great, right? Trevor Lawrence coming out, and I know it's a quarterback, but Trevor Lawrence coming out, you know he's going to be solid.
It was a foregone conclusion. He was the next.
You know he's going to be solid, and he proved that last year. Solid. Goes up against the Chargers. You're down. You throwing like picks left, right, center. He was Nate Peterman all over that field, right? Yeah. And then he decided to calm his ass down and really make it happen, and almost, and came out and put it together. So like, these players are gonna be great. So can we sit there and ignore? You know what I'm saying? So what these players are saying? Nah. Are you waiting to see it go into fruition and make it work? Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it. And when it is correct, boy, are we going to be excited. And we're going to be like, okay, we got ourselves a guy. And the beautiful thing,
half correct. If it's like even half correct.
Listen, man, half correct is even better. You know what I'm saying? It's great. What's even better is what I wanted to say was you got him and Dawson Knox together. And a tremendous talent in Dawson Knox. And then you've got an up and coming player in Kincaid. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And a lot, and I can understand why most folks say that's great. That's great and all.
Oh, yes.
But you got to put it together because you got your offensive coordinator that's got to find a way to make this work. And this is what it's going to come down to is, and how fun it's going to be is how you gonna figure this out, because you got a weapon in Stephon Diggs, which we hope he shows up to meet the camp, and we're making sure that there's no issues going there. And you got yourself Dawson Knox, you got Kincaid, you know what I'm saying? You got Gabe Davis that's probably going to want to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Come back and have a strong year in his contract year. So the sky's the limit with this offense, man. It's gonna be nice, man. And we got a lot to get back to. We got a lot to get back to. The way we ended that season, we got a lot to get back to and get back on track and start, you know what I'm saying, letting these people know, because a lot of people think these Bills are not the same old Bills.
Right.
Well, you better stop me. You put some respect on these Bills, boy. 13-3 in a year that we had a pretty tough schedule to hit. So let's wait it out. We'll see how this plays out. It's gonna be fun, but I'm very, very excited for Kincaid. I'm very excited.
Very excited. And we were taking it with as massive a grain of salt as all you guys are. We just thought we'd share with it because I don't think, I'll tell you what, going in there when we did, I wasn't expecting to hear anything remotely close to that. And it just, I think it got me, I'm already at the point now in the summer, Rico, where my excitement level for football is just overflowing at this point. I can't take it anymore. So when you start hearing about like just things like that, and at the end of the day too, obviously things can get overstated, but whatever. But even if he's doing enough to make a scene where it's being shown that, man, this is really looking like it's worthy of that pick so far. You look around this offense, and that could not have been more needed. If it's already looking like he is going to be an immediate impact, whether that's fill in any any guess for his future that you want, none of us can be certain. But you eliminate that, in my opinion, because it doesn't matter. What matters is the idea that it's already being seemed as though, almost off the bat, the guy looks like he is going to be ready to be able to come into this team and be the guy that the Bills drafted him for. And I think what they drafted him for, in my opinion, and I think this was what had to be secured. And I think that they took their best possible swing at doing it. They needed a guy to come in and be an immediate impact with the ability to be a long-term X factor. The Bills don't really currently have that. Stephon Diggs is not a long-term X factor. Is there a long-term X factor on this entire offense besides Josh Allen? The answer is no. That's what they needed. And the fact that that's even a possibility, the fact that he's got people buzzing, the fact that he's got people singing his praises already, I was beyond stoked from day one, and my excitement, it continues to grow, Rico. And now, just like everybody else in here, we're in the same boat. We just can't wait to see that guy get out on the field and take a couple snaps and see what this whole thing looks like.
It's gonna be fun. And here's a question for you too, Bot.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this edition of Kincaid, right? And we lose Isaiah McKenzie, right?
Yes.
Isaiah McKenzie last year, what he had like 60 receptions. I got to double check that. So that vacates. There's openings here. So sure. I wonder, it makes me wonder, okay, so like how do they insert Kincaid? How do they insert Dawson Knox? How do they insert Khalil Shakir in spreading out those 60 plus receptions? They didn't have 60 receptions. I gotta double check that.
Well, you know what? It's a good point you bring up, because you could argue that it was a hole that was only I mean, it's almost kind of like you had a hole on your wall, and instead of plastering it over, you kind of just threw a poster up in front of it, and then you kind of forget about it, right? Cole Beasley was the hole left behind. You and I know me in particular, I had a lot of high expectations for Isaiah McKenzie filling that role. I thought he was fine, and I thought what Isaiah McKenzie brought to this team for what he was never a
targets. Excuse me, I said 65 receptions. I meant 65 targets.
Oh, okay.
Go on.
Isaiah McKenzie, I loved Isaiah McKenzie. I will miss Isaiah McKenzie. We talked to Dawson Knox about him. He was the funniest guy on the team. They all miss him. I mean, he was a all-around awesome dude, and I also loved his game. I thought he was a Swiss Army knife. I thought he had a skill set on this team that really wasn't brought. That type of skill set really wasn't brought to the table by anybody else. It just, he was not an all-pro slot receiver like Cole Beasley was. Not many are. Cole Beasley is one of the only slot receivers to be an all-pro receiver over the last decade or so. It's a very tough thing to do. Yeah. That hole was not filled. Dalton Kincaid was drafted to help get rid of the poster and throw some freaking concrete up over that hole. He wasn't drafted to replace Dawson Knox, to take Dawson Knox's reps. If he has as good a hands as everybody's saying he does, if he's as good of an athlete as everybody's saying he is. And this isn't even now. This was back when he was drafted. Everybody was like, this is a steal. This was day one, draft night. Everybody was saying this, right? So you have to look, and we talked to Knox about this a bit. You have to look at him differently than the position indicates, because I don't necessarily think that has a damn thing to do with anything that he brings to the table here. I don't care what he's designated as, and I don't care what Dawson Knox is designated as. Knox is a damn good tight end. He knows it. I know it. And the addition of Dalton Kincaid, I think, only adds to elements of this offense that maybe, one, is gone now, and two, I think Dawson Knox would tell you, I'm not a slot receiver. Maybe Dalton Kincaid is. We're hearing about the best hands in the draft. That's what we were told night one. And we continually hear good things coming out, not Rico. So this could be a whole different ball game compared to what that tight end position designates in our minds.
Listen, it is going to be, and here's the thing about this addition of Kincaid to this offense, right? Because 65 targets are gone. So Josh is going to be looking for that safe haven. He's going to be looking for that. I don't want to even call him a security blanket.
He needs one.
You know what? And you know what? That's why they brought him in there, because he's going to be the best of both worlds, right? Can I have both of you guys, Dawson and you, in? I got to split you out. Okay. So now I've got a smaller DB that's going to be covering you in the slot. So guess what? There's my advantage right there. So there's going to be ways that we can take full advantage of Kincaid on this roster. To me, if he gets me 4 receptions a game, right? 5 maybe, that you're looking at a solid, that's 60 plus receptions. You know what I'm saying? This whole year. So like, to me, that fills the void very nicely. And that's not force feeding him. There's going to be games where he goes off, and I'm sure of it. And there's going to be games where it's modest and it's going to be somebody else's turn. So now this, what this is beautiful thing is, it opens up everything for your Stephon Diggses. It opens up everything where everything downfield, Josh is going to take off, right? You're busy trying to figure out what Kincaid's doing. You're busy trying to figure out what's going on here. Weapons everywhere. There goes number 17 taking off. Now, is he going to do that often? No. But the point is, this team is going to have a lot of potential to reclaim number 1 spot on the offensive side of the ball. Now, whether they're not number 1, number 2, whatever, doesn't matter. Point is, you've got a very good weapon in Kincaid, and they're already raving about him in practice. And the fact that Josh was like, yo, get my guy, let's go. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be fun times. And I look forward to it, man. It's gonna be.
You kind of just hit on something there. I think we kind of heard a little bit about that too. If you want to kind of talk about that a little bit.
It's not news. It's not a whole lot of news, but it was more of confirmation.
Exactly.
In terms of like Josh's excitement for Kincaid. I know that this was put out there not too long ago, that he was like, hey man, I like him, go get him, that's the guy, let's do it. So and it was more confirmed, but with the confirmation, it was more like the excitement of it. Oh yes. Bet, go get him, let's go. And so the fact that you have, I'm saying, the thumb of approval, if you still, or stamp of approval from your QB saying, all right, go get that, there's going to be some chemistry put together. I mean, you saw how it was. Stephon Diggs is coming to Buffalo.
Right.
Immediate impact.
And there hasn't been that since. And that was Josh Allen's best year by far, and it was immediate. And if you look, Rico, you don't need to have a mathematics degree to break down the number differential every single time Josh Allen adds a piece. We start with Zay Jones and Calvin Benjamin. What do you know? It didn't look all that great. Oh, my God. John Brown, love him. Towards the tail end of his career, right? Best year of his career, probably not close. Josh Allen turned him into a deep ball threat, maybe one of the best of that season. Just that addition alone. Cole Beasley, a whole other addition, a whole other element of Allen's game, a whole different improvement. Then you add Stephon Diggs. Then they drafted Gabe Davis, who, when he is a true non-solidified, gotta be wide receiver too, like you're looking over in Philly and we're looking at Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I don't know if Gabe Davis is that. I do know that when I have seen Gabe Davis in an offense where it's not just him and Stephon Diggs, we've seen Gabe Davis make some absolutely incredible plays and put up historic all-time record-breaking numbers. So you watch the additions of these guys add up. If Dalton Kincaid follows with the trend, and I think we can call it a trend, we have seen numerous years in succession where additions have been made. We have also seen, and I don't agree with this, you look at Allen's numbers, it was not really a decline. But the absence of Cole Beasley, there was 100% a decline in the middle of the field being taken advantage of last season. I don't know if I don't know if the numbers are nailing in on that, but you know damn well that was not being valued or looked at as much as it was in the year past. And I think the best way to look at it, there were often times in situations where it felt as though that was going to be the obvious move to look over the middle. There'd be a lob pass 20 yards down the sideline, a run that was out of nowhere that didn't seem necessary.
Nope,
it was a big miss, Rico.
And here's the thing, right? And you mentioned it earlier. The I don't want to say the loss per se, because we brought him back, but we didn't bring him back in top form and top shape. But what a difference the offense was with our guy, freaking Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley, 80 plus receptions. Like, that's a lot, right? So when Allen's going through his checks, reliable is always going to be there. So we have that in Kincaid bringing it up. So this will be nice. And furthermore, there's going to be guys that need to step up. Like, you just brought that awful receiving core up when Josh Allen was in. You had like Robert Foster. I mean, this guy was talked about being a number one receiver and then just completely fell off the map. Obviously, injuries happened, but Robert Foster, Kevin Benjamin. We had a receiver from the Panthers. I just can't remember. We just started stealing everybody all over the place, right? Just maddening. And then you start bringing in guys that make a difference, that get separation and all those great things that we already know. So now you go into this year with knowing who you got: Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs. That middle, it's going to be one of those things where we had Isaiah McKenzie last year. We had Cole Beasley come in and tail off a little bit. Who do we bring in from the Jets that came in? Eluding me right now. And we had him in there and got hurt, obviously. So like there was never really someone that could come in and just take over. So we now have filled that void, and now it's a matter of placing him in there and finding out where it fits. And don't forget, Khalil Shakir is going to come in there and steal some touches in there too. So it's going to be fun. I think. Jameson Crowder. Thank you very much for that. So Jameson Crowder should have been the guy, right? Because we wanted that bigger yak receiver in the slot in order for us to get there, because we knew that Cole Beasley was, I guess, over the hill, if you want to. And we wanted the younger, but a guy that can get to it. It just never worked out. So McKenzie took over. So we have been still trying to find that void to fill. I think we filled that with the addition of Kincaid, sprinkle in some Khalil Shakir. Don't sleep on Sherfield. And then we've got devastating speed coming from Deontay Hardy. So you ain't looking at elite players, but you got players that are role players that know their spot, that know their role. And once everybody figures out and slots into their role, this offense is going to be something scary to look at. So,
Chiefs to me.
Heck yeah, man. And JA17 said he's as focused as ever. And I don't know about you, man. When you looked at Josh Allen at that media day, did something stand out to you? Did he look a little different to you?
He's looking good. He's looking good. He's looking like a man who has, and it's probably, and listen, when I'll never get over it. It's a weird situation being in we've done this several times now, but like the last time we were at a high school football field. So it's like a huge surface area. You can kind of move around or whatever. This last time around, we were at Legacy House, which is a really awesome studio outside of Buffalo, but it's kind of smaller compared to a football field, obviously. So you're in a confined environment with Allen, and you're just watching that life of what has now become and we talked about this last week with the Madden cover, which wound up coming true, by the way. We talked about this last week where he is now a full-blown A-list athlete, and you're watching it very up close and personal. And it's wild to watch a life like that operate, because there's not a moment in time where someone doesn't want to take a picture with you, doesn't want to talk with you, doesn't want to do something with you. And he he handles it incredibly well. He's an absolute stand-up act from that perspective. I've never, in my numerous times just being in that element, I've never seen him, at least in public. And I'm sure, of course, like anybody, it's got to be tiring as all hell, but he never lets you know. I think in watching him up close, though, Rico, it looks like a man who has completely accepted the fact that he is who he is now. He's Josh Allen. It's no longer Josh Allen having to climb up the totem pole to get to a certain space to where it seems as though, and I'm not trying to sit here and say Josh Allen, he's made it based on the winning and whatever else. But you're wrong if you don't think he's made it into the pantheon of the best quarterbacks in this league, which has now come with A-list celebrity type lifestyle. You're watching the guy, and it's just like watching an A-list movie star walk about. I mean, it's a really weird thing to be around. You couldn't imagine. And I always wonder with him, he comes from a one-light farm town in Fireball. He plays in Wyoming. You move to Buffalo. The expectation, I think we've already exceeded what we thought it was going to be with Allen. I don't even know if anybody thought he'd get to the point where he was like Madden cover, whatever. The paparazzi follow him around. It just looks like he has embraced that. And on top of that, he's looking the part, Rico. The dude is shredded. The hair is mint. The guy's looking like he is living up to what he's been saying, and that is he's never been more focused. He looks. I love it.
Listen, he's listen. The best way we can explain it is once it's the dust is settled and camp starts and so on and so forth, and things start to get they start to heat up a little bit. I think that you'll start to like all the stuff that's going on with right now with the Madden cover and all that stuff. That's going to be put to the side, and now zero focus. And I think we're going to see a different Allen. I think, in my opinion, I think we're going to see a more focused, and it's easy to say more focused, right? But I think we might see, and not that he can't, and not that he hasn't, but I think you might see a more vocal Allen, a more Tom Brady like Allen. This is just my opinion alone, right? Now, a more Tom Brady like Allen. And by what I mean by that is, I will yank your helmet and say, get in the game. Or you drop a football, I will chew you out. Now, I'm not talking about the Tom Brady way, but in the Allen way, right? So I think there's going to be a lot more.
It's his team, you're saying, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's my team. So, like, y'all going to have to shape up because, like, pressure's on, man. If we could talk about all we want. Allen is, 26, 27 years old, right? In the prime of his career right now.
Yeah.
And Bills fans all over the place talk about windows and media guys talk about windows and if the window's open, is the windows closing? What's going on with it? Listen, I think he hears it. I think he reads it. And I think it's more like, okay, let's get it done now because your team is not always going to be the same every year. You're going to lose a piece. So with the team that he's got now, he's like, we got no choice, but we got to make this thing work. So I think you're going to see a lot more Allen making guys accountable and getting them ready. And I think we'll see in that way, the more focused, the more zeroed in Allen. And I'm looking forward to that one because you can just see with his body type. You can tell, okay, man, he's just been in the gym. He's leaned out, chills it up. I said, all right, bro, he's ready to go. He's ready to go.
And that was if you couldn't tell by now, no, we didn't get to talk to him because it's like, would I get to talk to Leonardo DiCaprio if I was in the same room with him? Probably not. That's where we're at. People aren't really grasping that. Like, you got the guy, there's agents and man, like, dude, it's a whole different life, man. This isn't like, there's the Buffalo boy throwing the pigskin for the old football team in town. Like, that ain't it, man. This is a freaking, like, dude, this is the guy. Like, we were talking. So the guy, is it Matt? I think it's Matt from West Herr, the guy. Yeah, really good dude. He always sticks his neck out for us, tries to get us to sit down with Allen, but it's tough. He's busy all day. And, Rico and I, we would have loved it. But, we also knew it, it is what it is. But we were talking with Matt at the end there. And I literally said to him, I said, the silver lining to me, not being able to interview Allen, because the reason we couldn't is just because the guy, it's just a different level, man. Like, he's super busy, super needed. And it's like, you got to treat a guy like Allen, and whether I don't know. This isn't my life. I would imagine, and I told you this is probably for the best. Like, the guy, I don't think you could leave the house. You couldn't leave the house without having a parameter in place because the guy that's where he's at now, right? So it kind of led into, with his schedule and just the fact that he's just in this unearthly status, that it was tough for us to land an interview with him. And I told Matt there, who tried to get it for us, I said, look, the silver lining here, Matt, is that that's the reality of the situation.
Listen,
and I've been waiting my whole life for that. The fact that I can't interview this guy because he is movie star, basically, fine by me, because I would venture to guess, Rico, all Bills quarterbacks of the past prior to Allen, it wouldn't be that hard to probably get a sit down with him if we wanted it.
I'll tell you this though, but you gotta give him credit too, because like it's got to be incredibly tough to be like, I guess, desired, if you will.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
When I say desired, meaning like pulling you left, right, center. You got to go do this. You got to go do this. Oh, by the way, we need you to do this. I need you to sign this. I need you to take a picture with. There's a whole lot of things being pulled right, and he handles that, bro. I'm gonna tell you, man, like a true professional, man. If I'm being pulled left, right, center, there's a point where I'm like, yo,
I know,
gotta leave, man. Y'all leave. There's none of that, because he knows this.
That's what I was getting at when I was saying, like, it just seems like he's embraced it. Like, it just seems like that. Like, dude, and then I don't know if you saw, but like the next day after that, and you and I kept talking, we were like, dude, he's got to be shot. We were there for like 8 hours. There wasn't a moment. I mean, dude, they were stuffing Dion Dawkins in the back of a Mini Cooper. They were doing the most random shit at this thing. It was hilarious. But Allen, I mean, he was needed every second of the day. And then the next day, I'm sure you saw, he did like a whole thing for the Madden recovery. He went and did a whole media thing for that.
Busy.
So, and then the guy's got practice in the morning for like 3 hours. He had practice before we did the thing. And I'm thinking to myself, Rico and I were talking before the show here. I'm like, I got to do work tonight. He's got work tonight. And it's like, all right, we're going to try to knock it off. And it'd be like, all right, I got practice for 3 hours. And then I'm going to go do like 9 hours of commercials. I'm going to go do a Madden photo shoot. I mean, like, dude, that's just a day for the guy. So it's a wild thing to witness, man. And I love it for our sake, at least.
Let me ask you this. When mini camp comes along, I think training camp stuff, mini camp, how like, when are they going? First of all, are they going to I always get this wrong. Fisher.
Yeah.
Where's that place in Rochester? What's it called?
St. John Fisher.
St. John Fisher.
Mm-hmm.
Are you headed there?
I always do every year, but the thing is, I'm in Connecticut now. I love to do it. It's always a blast. If I'm in town, oh, for sure. It's fun to do. Are you asking, like, do you get any big takeaways from it? Is that what you're kind of asking?
And I asked for a reason because of all these things that are going on right now, and it's gonna be so fun to see him just shut off, transition, football time. Let's go. And I mean, as a professional, you got to do that, right? But like,
it's got to be hard.
I think somebody in the comments said it. Like, we haven't seen this type of star power in a long time, and we have that in the Bills. And I was saying this on our last show, man. It comes to the point where we just got to embrace it. Enjoy it while we have it, because we know what it feels like when we don't have it. And it's rough. We got to go through quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, and we can keep going, right? But we don't have to do that for a while. So it's just nice to have. So once it's time to shut off, and once the lights are on and he goes, I'm ready to perform, because there's two different lights he's got to perform under. The public light, where everybody's looking at him as that superstar, and then Josh Allen, the player. So it'll be nice to see that transition happen. But fun nonetheless, man. We were able to kind of observe and just kind of step back and see how everything plays out and how these things are, man. And these it's just fun to see this element of these players over the offseason, how it is. It's pretty fun. But you'll see once we give you the interview, kind of have an idea of what we mean by that.
Cordero Linder coming in, super chat. Appreciate it, Cordero. He's saying, what's up, brothers? It's been a minute. Keep doing what you're doing. James Cook will have 1,000-yard rushing year. A lot of people on that. I think I'm starting to. I don't know. I don't want to put the number out there, but you know, I'm on record saying I think this is a big year if given the opportunity. I love the skill set for James Cook, and this is. Appreciate the super chat. By the way, Cordero, he says, "Go Bills, go Georgia." This is one last thing, and this just kind of puts a little bow on the whole Kincaid thing, because I can see that that just gets run. It'll get run, to the end. But the whole thing that I love about talking with people that you don't typically see on an everyday basis and might have a different perspective than you, including players, is you hear things that all of us would not know. Now, whether Kincaid's going to be a Hall of Famer or not, I don't know. All I know is I am now in the know that He looks great. Josh Allen wanted him on this team right when he was drafted. He was potentially being proclaimed to be not only the best weapon in the draft, but the best hands in the draft. These are all real things. So that's what the Bills have on their table right now. If he becomes a Hall of Famer, if he becomes whatever, great. But all I know is right now, Rico, what we have is all of those things to look forward to potentially coming to fruition. The other things that we hear from other guys might not be as cool as that, but there was one thing that we heard from Dawson Knox, and we're going to get into his interview right now, Rico. But do you remember what the one thing Dawson Knox said that stood out to both you and I at the exact same time?
Man, he said so many things. Which one are you thinking of?
Kind of in the same realm of when you heard, how good Kincaid was looking, and it kind of took you back. Do you remember the one player Dawson Knox said that really, really excited us based on what he's been seeing out of him in practice?
Well, there's two. He mentioned. Listen, are we talking about the RB position?
Yes.
Okay. So, listen, you guys, and this is perfect that you said that, because Cardero Linder comes in, and shout out to my man Cardero Linder, and he's always talking about Georgia. What up, Georgia boys? All right. So, him mentioning James Cook will have 1,000 yards rushing this year. Now, it isn't per se difficult to have 1,000 yards rushing. You need 65 yards a game, give or take. With an extra game, you need 60, 64. 65 games where 65 yards a game, give or take. But we've got a backfield full of running backs. And this year, he'll definitely take a step up. In my honest opinion, I've been saying this for weeks now, and you guys have heard me say this before, but I believe that Damien Harris is the one that takes over as the lead back. Why? I just think that style of running back is what McDermott has wanted in a long time, right? Think about it. Who did we just trade over to the Indianapolis Colts, right? So when you look back at looking at who we have on our squad, we wanted to, when Devin Singletary was here alongside Wizak, you looked at what they're trying to do. They tried to push forward and get that lead back, that strong 5'11", 220-pound frame that can take the load. But this man just wasn't keeping up to it. So Damien Harris comes in, and Dawson was like, listen, boy, is he strong as ever, number one. And if for those that think that, he can't run, he's looking just as fast as some of these guys out here. So you've got strength, you've got speed. He has been looking very impressive. And that just, for me personally, that confirmed what I've been thinking that was going to happen. He didn't come in just to sit here and be second fiddle. I think he's coming to be that lead dog. And
he, to me, said without saying, yeah, he's the best back on this team right now.
You do that? You got you caught that?
I don't know. That's how it sounded to me, man. What did you think it sounded like?
It just sounded like, listen, don't sleep on Damien Harris. He's nice like that.
When you tell me that he might be the fastest and he is the strongest, what conclusion can I come to other than the fact that this guy, I was so taken back by that, because I was under the impression, and frankly, I still kind of am, that I think James Cook is going to be mainly your every down back when it comes to longer yard situations, pass game situation. Damien Harris, I thought, was the perfect addition for the short yardage and the red zone. But this is why, just like one of those other things where, like, I would not know this. I haven't had anybody talk about this, and you kind of hear it, and you're like, well, wait a minute. If he's keeping up in speed, especially at his age, too, that's the other thing. It's not like he's one of the older guys as well. When you're talking about the speed, Rico, in addition to without question, him being the strongest running back on this team, that was really exciting to hear. We'll let you guys take a look. Let's dive into this interview, Rico. Let
them be the judge of this.
I mean, it wasn't like he came out and said that. I just, when I heard him say that, I was like, it sounded to me, Rico, like he had been impressing Dawson Knox at the very least. And
he definitely is. And we, I wouldn't say we pressed him, but we said, listen, if you're going to look at who on this team, I mean, because he named multiple players.
Oh,
but
for
then
sure.
there was one that he kind of stood a little longer on. He was like, well, this player, and you'll let that play out. But I gotta keep it a buck with y'all, man. When Zach Moss was on the squad, they were pushing Zach Moss to be the lead back. They were pushing him ahead of Devin Singletary. It was clear, because it was never saying Devin Singletary touches because he's earned it. It was like, yo, Zach Moss is in. We're evening the touches. There were times where Zach was getting more touches than Devin Singletary because they were trying to push him to be that lead back. He just never took it. So maybe they have that style of play in Damien Harris, and Damien Harris will probably seize that right. we'll see. But based on that description from my guy Dawson Knox, I kind of took that away from it. I'm like, don't be surprised if you see that happen. But
well, you're right. We'll get into it right now. He did a great job of touching on everybody's strong suit. The one thing I just was not expecting to hear is the speed of Damian Harris, and that was a really cool thing to take away.
I was excited. I love hearing that.
In addition to a lot of other things. So let's get into it right now. This is the boys right in front of you sitting down with 88 from the Buffalo Bills, Dawson Knox. Like I said earlier, awesome dude. This was an awesome sit down. So I hope you enjoy. First of the 2 interviews we have for you tonight. Here's Dawson Knox with us talking about a little bit of everything. We kind of get into it all. So enjoy it.
Yeah, it kind of feels like we just popped up shop in the middle of a Walmart here. We're just kind of going after it.
Making it work.
Love it. All right. Hey, what's up, Buffalo Fanatics, Z-Bot, Rico, and you already know who they.
By the way, if it sounds like I kind of have like a hamster stuck in my throat and I don't sound like I've been smoking as many cigs during that interview, I have a modulator on the thing because we might as well have been filming this thing in the middle of Times Square. There was 1,000 things going on. So that's why it kind of sounds like I kind of got not as much of a smoker's voice, I guess, Rico. I never thought I'd say that before, but
you don't sound so bad.
Just
Not bad.
Guy is Double Ocho, Dawson Knox, joining us here at West Herr Media Day. We were just talking. I have to ask you this right off the bat. We were just talking to Allen's barber, Jesse. You got the best head of hair on the team. I don't want to get you in trouble, but that's my personal opinion.
That means a lot.
The effort that goes into it, I got to know. You wake up, do you just roll out with it, or is that how you got
to be completely honest? It's roll out of bed, throw on a hat. If I'm not wearing a hat, just shower, let it air dry. Just go with all natural look.
So it looks that good with no effort.
I'm too lazy with hair products and stuff. I just kind of let it go.
Right.
So is
Give us a second. We'll try to get that audio back up for you guys.
Game off with one of the most improbable and exciting touches.
it's not playing the audio. Is that what I'm hearing?
It was. I think when you muted yourself, then it muted it.
Oh, it's always something. My apologies, folks. Rewinding about 30 seconds or so. I was having a coughing fit, so it was probably for the best. Let's go back 45 seconds. Here we go. Jesus.
length for a man bun? Would you ever do it?
Oh, that's a great question. Never tried it.
A curly-headed man bun. I don't know if I've seen that. You could be really
that'd be the first.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might be the next Dawson. Listen, the man bun on Dawson. Watch out now.
He's onto something.
Now Rico's he's gonna look for royalties.
Watch out now.
He just coined this right here.
Yeah.
I got to take a trip down memory lane just because it's still to this day it's one of the best things I've seen. I'm in the stadium for Bills Patriots wild card weekend a couple years back. I think you know where I'm going with this. We haven't gotten into the meat of that game yet, where it wound up being one of the best things. I mean, at least for me as a fan that I've seen. We kicked that game off with one of the most improbable and exciting touchdowns I've ever seen, and you're on the receiving end of it. I don't know if you've been asked this before, but I have to ask you personally. When he's throwing that ball, are you under the impression that ball is being targeted to you, or are you under the impression Josh is throwing that ball out of the back of the end zone?
So right when he threw it, I could tell he was throwing the ball away because, he just kind of lofted it. I'm like, okay, that's probably going to go out the back. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, wait, I think I can get this thing. So I just went up, tried to get it, and thankfully it worked out, got both feet down. And Josh, his momentum carried him to the sideline, so he didn't even see what happened.
Right.
He was confused till we got on the sideline. I was like, did you catch it? Like, what happened? I was like, yeah, bro, thanks for just throwing it up to me. Appreciate you. He's like, dude, I was trying to throw it away.
Oh, so he flat out came out. And
Yeah. He was so confused. He didn't know what happened.
Well, you could tell the flick of it. It was just like it was almost too effortless.
The chemistry,
nonchalant. Yeah.
The chemistry is there. And when you guys are doing this, I mean, that's all that needs to be said. You don't need to even talk. That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Let me flip over a little bit. Listen, if you guys are not standing next to this man is a big boy. So blocking, when it comes to blocking in the NFL, and I got to get there, and you've done such a tremendous job on refining your game, in pass blocking and run blocking, all that good stuff. Now, hear me out when I say this. What is it like now that people look at you now? Okay, he's a blocker, and how do you set yourself up for the next 3 plays? Right, there might be a script, and you're blocking, and you're running for a route. What's your setup? How are you setting these guys up to set yourself up for that release?
Yeah, so that's kind of the fun thing about being a tight end. You get to do a little bit of everything. You could be blocking a 6 technique, 290-pound DN, and the next play you're catching a touchdown. So that's kind of where the game plan comes into play. Like Coach Dorsey's awesome at kind of making things all look the same, and then before we know it, we're running the play action pass, throwing to me down the field. But it's kind of just week to week, kind of whatever the defense is doing, figuring out their tendencies, giving them one look for a few times, and then before they know it, we're in behind them, throwing touchdowns and stuff. But it's all the mastermind of Coach Dorsey.
To piggyback off the blocking, because when I think tight end, I think this is a lot of people, you're thinking about the electric plays you guys make, just like I was talking about with the playoff game there. But the thing I think people forget is you're also a lineman on most downs. You're not making those plays every snap. When you approach the line and you're getting ready for a play and you kind of look at the totality of the game afterwards and then look at the highlight reel and then the blocking, do you feel as though as a tight end that is one of the more underrated aspects of football based on the general knowledge amongst, the average fan or the public?
Yeah, I think it's harder than people realize. At tight end U every year, we always kind of talk about how, we're running away from guys that are supposed to be faster than us, running routes against 205-pound safeties and corners. But then, you bring us in line and we got to do what a left tackle does. We got to pass protect against the best pass rushers. We got to block in the run game against some of these guys that are paid to fill their gap and stop the run. So that's kind of what makes it so fun is, that versatility of the position. But odds are in every play we're at a mismatch, blocking guys bigger, running away from guys faster. So we always pride ourselves on being, the best athletes on the field.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in a little bit away from football, if you don't mind. You had a very close relationship with your brother, and I'm curious because of your Christian, I believe your Christian faith. How were you able to refocus and try to get back onto the field and become the old Dawson when you still have somewhat of a heavy heart? What was it that was able to push you forward to try to get back to the old Dawson?
Yeah. Honestly, probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, but that's all God, man. I mean, that strength that he gives people to get over tragedies, it's something that just us as humans, we can't do by ourselves. So I can't imagine if you don't have those same beliefs, if you don't know there's a higher power with a bigger plan, better plan. I don't know how you move past it, but I mean, my family has been incredible. Teammates, coaches, everybody in that building was extremely supportive. They didn't rush me back to anything. They just told me, take the time I need, take whatever I need, whether it's a day off or just extra time with the family. They were very, very supportive and understanding. So it's kind of just a little mix of everything, but just knowing that we didn't really lose him because we know exactly where he is.
Absolutely.
He's up in heaven watching us, and just knowing that he's going to have a front row seat for every game from now on, even though he wasn't able to make a bunch of games in person because he was playing football at the time. But I think just knowing that he's up there, I'm going to see him again one day. Just kind of a combination of all those things, and just staying strong, knowing that God's got our back. He's got our best interests, even through these terrible things that happen. He's got a plan. It's all going to work out for good.
You touched that. No, go ahead.
Listen, I love that response.
Absolutely.
And the beautiful thing about this whole situation is, unfortunately, losing a brother, but you had 53 other brothers on the team holding you down. So that must have given you a lot of strength. So, man, I commend you, man, because it's incredibly tough. But having that faith, it's everything. So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my teammates were unbelievable. Coaches too.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm glad you said that because that's where I wanted to go. You're in a unique position, unlike anybody else, when you go through a situation like that, where you have that team. And if you've never been part of a team before, you wouldn't realize it. But if you are, you know exactly what comes with that. And it's like a second family. What's it like being in a situation where you have that many guys that are just with you in a spot that you couldn't imagine being in?
Oh, it's like extended family.
Yeah.
I mean, we always kind of pride ourselves and our team on being family style. You know, everyone's got each other's best interests. We got each other's backs through games, on the sideline, off the field. Just feeling that support from everyone is unbelievable. It's something that's kind of hard to describe if you don't really know that feeling, but also the fan base, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Bills Mafia is the most incredible fan base I've ever seen. And the fact that I get to be a part of it is unbelievable. I think they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Punt Foundation through donating $16.88 to Punt.
Awesome.
16 for my brother's number, 88 for me. But just kind of feeling a whole, countrywide fan base having my back too. It was, it's something that kind of gives me chills thinking about. It's storybook stuff, and I couldn't be more thankful. I
didn't even think about that. It just took me away for a second. I didn't even think about the fact that you have a million people you didn't even know, right? Coming. It's just incredible.
Well, I'm gonna jump in here. By the way, folks, Dawson Knox, Mr. Dawson Knox himself with Buffalo Fanatics right now at the West Herr media event. Can I jump into the elephant in the room? We've got the AFC East is absolutely bananas, right? And it's like everybody and their mama wants to come to the AFC East, and it's starting to annoy the heck out of us.
Unless they're coming to Buffalo.
Unless they're going to Buffalo. But the AFC in a whole is is a beast. We added another piece to this team. And what is it that the AFC is going to get from you and our rookie, Dalton Kincaid?
Man, I'm so excited. Dalton's such an incredible kid. Such a down-to-earth guy. Very relatable. The type of guy I would want to hang out with off the field too. And we've already done some of that, but he's got a great head on his shoulders, super smart, well polished for coming out of college. I mean, he's running crisp routes, seeing the defense well, great hands. So just kind of building that chemistry with Josh, and then maybe using multiple tight end sets here and there, kind of moving us around, getting mismatches on linebackers. I touched on earlier how we got to be matched up with DBs most of the time, but once you get someone your size trying to cover you, that's what a tight end drools. We're drooling all over the place for that. So I think Coach Dorsey's going to do an incredible job. He already has this summer, but it's going to be really fun, kind of moving some of those pieces around, especially using Dalton because he's awesome.
That's amazing.
How do you think? And you came right out. Dalton's drafted. You immediately tweet out that gif, and I loved seeing that because Rico and I were watching the draft together. And we immediately had thought, I think this elevates another level of Dawson's game that's not available right now because there's not that ability to do what you were just talking about, swapping out and whatnot. You kind of confirmed that to us. You put that out there where you're like, it's getting fun now. When you're talking about the things that obviously you can't give anything away, and we're excited to see it. But when you're talking about these things that Dorsey's cooking up a bit, is it something that you think from your personal game, one, you haven't really been a part of before, and two, that's going to be a real positive effect on this offense?
Yeah. I mean, you look at a lot of the really successful tight ends over the years, they've always had a lot of 12 personnel sets too. I mean, Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz.
Yep.
Even Gronkowski and Gonzalez or not Gonzalez.
Hernandez.
Yeah.
Hernandez. Yeah. I mean, those guys have always worked really well together. And that's something that I'm more excited for than anything. Just getting a lot of 12 personnel out there, bringing us in for the run game, spreading us out for the passing game. I think it opens a whole other door that it's going to be really exciting. I'm super excited to see what we do with it.
So I got to get into this because like the biggest comedian on the team arguably is not on the team anymore. And that's a little dirty. Isaiah McKenzie.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
and we love Isaiah McKenzie. He's going to do his thing in Indianapolis, but who is filling his shoes as the guy that kind of comedically keeps the team glued in together?
Josh does plenty of that by himself.
No kidding. Okay.
Gabe Davis for sure.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Dion's here. His energy is always hard to beat.
But he shows it with Gabe. That's why I said really, because it just seems like maybe it's probably something only you guys are seeing, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, Gabe's hilarious. But I mean, there's a lot of guys on the team that are funny. But like Tyrell Dotson, I think he's hilarious.
No kidding. Okay.
But there's tons of guys on the team with great senses of humor, keeping things light when they need to be light, not taking anything too seriously when we don't need to. But yeah, Lil Dirty was kind of like the glue,
the comedic glue.
the comedic relief. Yeah, exactly. But there's already been some guys stepping up into that.
All right, good. We're glad to hear the shoes are being filled.
Yeah,
That's for sure. You touched on this a little while ago. You mentioned tight end university. What is it about the tight end position it's like a fraternity? It seems like all you guys, like I just envision, it seems like all you guys have one gigantic group chat, and it feels like you guys just hang out on the weekends. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. It really is like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think tight ends for the most part have very similar personalities. Very unselfish guys. You know, we're not going to get all the glitz and the glamour of the receivers. You know, we can see how the O-line gets overlooked a lot just because, you know, they're blocking the whole game. And so no one really looks at that part as kind of being a spotlight position. But I think just having that common ground of just doing whatever the team needs you to do for that play, for that game, kind of makes everyone have a similar vibe to themselves.
Absolutely.
But tight end U in Nashville is always so much fun. It's like we've known each other for years.
Yeah, it seems like you look at it, and it seems like you guys are all just best buds.
It's so fun. Yeah, I'm super excited this year. I think it's the week right after minicamp in Nashville.
Can't go wrong.
It's down the road from me, so I mean, we'll be golfing together after. You know, we'll do field work and some film in the morning, but then in the afternoon or in the evenings, you know, we're getting dinner together, going to see some live music at one of the bars. Nashville's known for some good Broadway activities. Yeah. So it's gonna. I mean, every year I look forward to it every year. So I'm really excited again for this year.
So, and I'm very curious on this situation here. So, Bills Mafia wants to know this. They're watching OTAs. We're getting information from reporters, and there's only so much they can report. Is there anybody that has flashed that you're like, oh, okay, I see you? Is there anybody on the offense side, since you're on the offensive side, and if you want to jump on defense, by all means, but who is standing out that's kind of showing you a little something like, okay, I see you, young bud. What do you got?
Yeah, shoot. There's a lot of guys. I mean, even Dalton. I mean, great hands, great routes, making plays already.
Nice.
Hardy, his speed is unbelievable. It's so funny in walkthroughs, he'll kind of be, you know, shuffling around, jogging real slow, but then when he turns the jets on, it's unreal. It's crazy. Damian Harris too. So we're excited to see him on the field. I mean, that guy can roll. It's gonna be hard to tackle him too. So I mean, Bean has just done an incredible job getting some more weapons. I mean, we've seen flashes of talent in every position group that we, you know, new guys that weren't here last year that are picking it up pretty quick. It's been fun to watch.
I got to double up because you brought the running back position, and I have just a love for the running back position, and I feel like it's an art that people are just disrespecting. And we lost Devin Singletary, and love Devin Singletary, and we had him at the event last year.
Cane Corso.
He's a cane Corso. We asked him what kind of dog he'd be, and he chose a cane Corso. I didn't see it coming, but that's what he chose.
Thought about it for a minute.
He did.
Get this right.
He did think about it. So I bring this up because we've got Harris in the building. We've got our young buck James Cook in the building. Who else did we bring in? Murray, was it that we brought in? Latavius Murray. So there's quite a bit of juice in the backfield. But you mentioned Harris. What is about his game that you feel is going to elevate this offense?
He's got some power. It's going to be hard to tackle him. And his top end speed, from what I've seen so far in OTAs, he's as fast as anybody. So I know he gave us a run for our money a couple times with the Patriots, but definitely glad he's on our team now. I mean, James Cook in the backfield too. He's, you know, he's taking steps every day. Nyheim Hines. I mean,
yeah,
his speed, you can't really match that. So him coming out of the backfield too, I'm really, really excited to see what it's going to look like.
You're giving me really, really excited. For sure, really excited.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be fun to watch sometimes.
You're telling me. You're telling me. One more guy that I got to touch on because he's going to be in your vicinity. And you said the word power. This is where I thought of it. What can you tell us that we might not know right now about Osiris Torrance coming into this offense?
Oof. I think when we do all the testing stuff, I think he had the strongest hamstrings on the team.
Hamstrings?
By far. So, I mean, he's a workhorse, man. He works hard every day, keeps his head down. Does the right things. Seems like he's very coachable. Man, he's strong. It's going to be hard to get past that guy. I'm glad I don't have to line up against him.
Love it.
Yeah, he's powerful, man.
One look at that guy, and when I saw him put on, he had the suit on, taking the pictures at the facility,
Yeah,
and you're just like you just said, like, you're glad he's on our side,
Yeah.
not the other side.
I'm glad I don't have to pass rush against him.
Right? Yeah, talking about guys who aren't your side.
Oh my
right?
gosh, yeah, don't
Yeah.
touch me. You know,
Well, I know you got some things you want to do, but I do have a few more things to touch on, and then we'll let you get, because it's going to be a busy evening for you. Week 6, you may not know who you play week 6, right? Because it's one game at a time. We get it. You're coached up. We know, right? But week 6, it's the Giants. And we have old buddy on the Giants squad. And how fun is it going to be going up against B. Dabes, right? Brian Dable.
oh my gosh, everyone on our team loves Dabes. You know, a lot of us were pretty close to him, texting him congrats after, you know, big wins. I think you won Coach of the Year last year. Incredible. I mean, guys will go to battle, go to war for him. But, you know, when he comes to Buffalo, is it in Buffalo?
I love that.
It's
Yeah,
it's in Buffalo. Yeah,
Sunday
he's
night
coming.
game
He's
in
coming over.
Buffalo.
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh, it's
it's right after you guys get back from London too.
okay.
You're right
Nice.
back from London.
Sunday night.
It's a prime time. Yeah,
It's a
Well, you
primetime
guys
game.
have so many. I mean, I can't even.
Oh, primetime
Can't keep
games
up,
are the
baby.
best. Oh my gosh, I love primetime games, but
you do.
absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
nothing like primetime games.
Is that a touchy subject in the locker room amongst
Some guys
different
don't like them because you got to wait around all day, just chill. Some guys just like waking up early, going to get it, you know, being done by 5 o'clock, kind of time to reset for the rest of the day. But a lot of guys love when the lights come on.
Yeah.
And when you know everybody in the country's watching you, I think that just elevates
Time to
everybody's
perform.
play a little bit. I wish every game for us was prime time.
Wow. Well, basically, it is this year.
Yeah,
You're
I
gonna
know
get
this
shit.
year is unbelievable. But something special just knowing that all eyes are on you, time to do what you do best in front of everybody. Stage couldn't be bigger. I mean, it gets me going.
Do you have a ritual before games, and whether it's a 1 p.m. game or a primetime game, or is your ritual the same?
You know, it's basically the same. Like when it's time to get going, head of the buses, get your pregame meal. It's all basically the same for me. But when it's a night game, you know, you got 7 or 8 hours just to hang around, do nothing. So I almost try to keep my mind off of football. You know, I'm chilling, watching a movie in the hotel room, taking a walk around whatever city we might be in, just getting fresh air, kind of keeping your mind off the game for that, you know, for that given period of time. But when it's time to, you know, get the pregame meal, that's when everything kind of starts getting more focused, more serious. I get my cup of coffee, get on the bus,
Love
get
it.
to the locker room, do a little walk around the field, go out for pregame, you know, get some extra routes in with Josh. It's just, you can't beat game day. I mean, you just live for it.
You touched on the aspects of the prime time that you love, and that's all eyes are on you. You're gonna have all European eyes on you out in London. What does that feel like, knowing you're gonna be going across the pond and playing?
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. I've never been to Europe. So just having a little extra fan base over there, I'm sure Bills Mafia will still travel like crazy. I mean, it's unbelievable. But just being in London, new territory, across the pond, bunch of European fans starting to kind of enjoy football a little bit. I think that energy is going to be completely different too, in a good way.
Right.
Couldn't be more excited for that one.
I love it.
Well, listen, I got this last one for me, and I don't know how touchy it's going to be, but I got to ask. Bills Mafia is still kind of steaming a little bit on the last game that we played. And it's not about going back to last game, but it's more how motivated is this team based on how we ended the season, going into this season. How motivated are you guys? Do you guys talk about it every day? Like, how hungry are you guys for this?
Yeah, there's a certain point where you just got to turn the page and move on. But I think everyone still has that bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
That little extra chip on your shoulder that it wasn't just, you know, it was a close game. It was that we just got beat. Kind of just ran out of steam towards the end of the season. But I think there's a healthy part of being able to turn the page and focus on this year, completely different team, new schedule, getting past it. But, you know, I think we'd be lying if we didn't say there was a bad taste, and we're ready to smack that out of our mouths.
Let's
Ready to
go.
I love
Let's
it.
go.
Well, I know you got a bunch of commercials to shoot. And by the way, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but the director said, he told me this personally, can't wait to shoot with you today. That's what he said.
Facts.
He said he can't wait to get your personality out there.
I'm getting the acting career going.
I'm telling you
Go.
what. And I have to say this before we close up, or else she'll kill me. My mom wanted me to tell you she loves you to death, and you are her favorite player.
Oh, let's go.
So just had to let you know that before we close up shop.
Thank you. Tell her I love her too.
I love that.
Absolutely,
I love it.
That's
I
good,
love,
man.
and I love that you took time to hang out with us.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
Appreciate you guys.
ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Mr. Dawson Knox, a big year upcoming. I mean, listen, he's ready. He's jacked. He's ready to go. Locks of hair. Look, this guy, man bun. Let's try to get him in a man bun
Yes.
this season. Let's go.
Maybe on the commercial right now.
Maybe.
I'm the director. He's already. We're already talking.
Yes, sir. You guys have a great one. Thank you, Dawson Knox.
Yes.
Appreciate
Oh,
you guys.
appreciate
Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
We'll see you on the next one.
There it is. Double Ocho, Dawson Knox. That was a great talk with him. A little bit of everything there, Rico. What are your thoughts?
I liked it, man. Listen, you get to talk to these players, and then like once they're off the camera, they're even more chill. Like he's already chill guy, just chilling with us. I mean, the time he took to even talk to us. I mean, we were given like a 15, 20-minute slot, give or take, and we were just flowing, right? So shout out to Knox, man. I want him to have a massive year alongside Kincaid, and I want us to be such a freaking problem for the league that they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle it. So that stampede is coming. So I'm hoping that we handle business the way we're supposed to this year.
I thought you worded it right too, where you were pretty much saying you asked him what I thought was the best way to put it, where it was like, what are they
How are they going to handle you
striking into them? Yeah, like
yeah,
what's
yeah.
this like?
Because you don't want to get into like, yo, so talk to me one. Because like you want to see how they're both doing together. Like how's that dynamic working? How's that chemistry come along with the two of you guys, right?
Right.
So the best way to say it is like, listen, because we all know it, man. The AFC's freaking loaded, man. So like we've got to find ways to differentiate ourselves from everybody and really put on the points, right? So you got two big time players that are on that position. How are you guys going to bring that heat to the rest of the team and to the rest of the AFC? And I mean, you saw how he said it. Like, listen, he's excited, and the genuine excitement for his teammate, because it's tough, man. They draft a player in the first round in your position. You could easily be salty and just, I ain't trying to talk about it, right? But he was like, no, man, this kid is a nice kid, man. He's a great guy. Like chemistry is on fleek when we're outside of this place, and he couldn't stop talking about his hands. I think he mentioned twice.
Yes.
And then he mentioned even more after we even spoke. So the fact that he's praising his teammate, great player, and you couldn't have asked for a better player to be on the squad and leading the young buck in Dawson Knox. Good stuff, man.
I think he had 20 minutes of there of just a pure representation of a guy who's he's just overall a great representation of the Buffalo Bills. Just an awesome guy, and I thought he had a lot of great things to say. And the one thing I to go back to the Damian Harris thing, I think the one thing that I forgot about, he did emphasize the speed, where he said he's got some of the best top line speed out of anybody, but you could really tell that it was the power that we're going to be looking forward to seeing this year, where he was really honing in on, man, wouldn't want to get in front of that guy.
I'll tell you, man, there's one play that sticks out to me in Bills Mafia. Anytime I've ever watched the Bills play, and it was Antoine Smith. You may not remember this, bot. You may not. Antoine Smith just absolutely destroyed a Raider player. If you guys know what I'm talking about, Antoine Smith took that, and a Raiders safety tried to come in, and Antoine Smith absolutely obliterated this Raiders player. Now I bring this up because Damian Harris gives me that type of vibe where it's north-south, and if you're my way, too bad for you. It's going to be a problem. So I'm looking forward to seeing how many touches he gets in these games and where he's getting his touches. I mean, he's 2 years removed from 15 touchdowns in the red zone. 15 touchdowns. So listen, let's roll, man. I'm excited for that.
I'll tell you what, Dawson got us excited. You could just tell the way he was laying it out there got us real excited. Dion got us excited about, I think, getting to know the inner workings of an athlete's mind behind the scenes, kind of understanding what it's like to perhaps like you even, you touched on it with Dawson there in your question, where it's like, we're hurting as Bills fans after that Bengals game. What's it like for the players? Dion kind of gives us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain as to what something like that might be like. So hope you enjoy the Dawson Knox interview. Here comes our main man, Dion, longtime friend of
So,
BF. And go ahead, Rico. You there? Did I lose you? I think I might have lost Rico. He can hop in a second. Anyhow.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here? All right. What were we going to say before I hit roll on this baby?
So with Dion, and like we said earlier, man, it was just a matter of like, listen, a couple questions and just roll. And Dion becomes Dion. Yeah. And I got to preface this because Dion, when he came in as a rook, we hit up Dion saying, whatever you need, Dion, we got you. And charities, this, that, and the third, we got you. So we've always been supportive of Dion, and he's always been a friend of the brand, and he's always shown us love, always. And you can quite tell in this interview here how comfortable he is and how he's able to just be himself like he always is. So tune in for this one. This is a good one.
And he wastes no time, as you can see right now.
2-time Pro Bowler, 7 years with the Buffalo motherfucking Bills. Pussies. We got to put a beat on that right there.
Yeah, but don't let me start freestyling. I'll get this shit crazy.
The mic's right there.
Yeah. Buffalo Fanatics, straight addicts.
Hey.
Pulled up to like a little sea house, and you know we getting at it.
Let's go. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, if you already don't know by now, you better know. It's the main man right in the middle of us right here, Dion Dawkins, sitting down with Rico and I here at West Herr Media.
Can we pump him up a little bit more than that?
I think you could.
Can we pump him up? 2-time Pro Bowler.
Come on.
Big dog.
Come on.
D-Doc.
Iced out.
7 years in the league.
Look at him.
Don't play. LT. Dion Dawkins in the building. What's good? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go. We got the man Dion Dawkins in the building with us, and it's a long day. He's a movie star.
He is.
He's been a movie star for some years now. Makeup getting done.
Yeah.
Listen, I saw them Jordans in your room, bro. Yeah, them Jordans are clean.
Fire.
Did you roll in on those? Those things are the size of a Cadillac.
Oh, what you got? Jokes? what you got?
I just want to say right here.
What size?
I thought he was going to kill me there. He got a little serious there for a second. I thought I met my maker there for about 2 seconds. Thank God he laughed. Thank God he laughed. Rico.
Z-Bot was sitting with his legs kind of open and kind of relaxed. As soon as I said, "What you got, jokes?" Z-Bot's knees came right together.
I thought a little dribble coming down. That's a big man sitting right between us right there.
Let's go.
13.
See how
you lie? Well, you kidding? What you got? Man,
you rocking a size 13?
13. I'll show you the tag right now.
It's not it, man. We 15s and up.
That's it. That means I'm not in that category.
That means you get all the good stuff, though, right?
Talk about it.
You get all the good stuff.
Well, listen, let us talk about it, because year 7 in this game. How does it feel being? You're not the young buck anymore, man. You're a vet. You're a vet. How does it feel coming into year 7, being the guy that they're looking up to?
Oh man, it gets kind of. It's kind of cool. It really is cool. I don't feel like I'm in year 7. The years are really flying by, but I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed. When I came in, I was looking at guys like Richie Incognito, Lorenzo Alexander, Tyrod Taylor, LaShawn McCoy, Eric Wood, like older Kyle Williams, older dogs, right? And now I'm pushing that tier, and it's kind of scary because like career. Like I don't even want to talk about it, but like I'm pushing that second to back tier of my career. So I understand it. I got to do things to keep myself with it, but I'm still Snow. I'm still flowing. I'm still feeling like Snow. So till I don't feel like Snow, you'll see it, you'll feel it. But right now I still feel like Snow.
We were doing something the other day. I was going through, just looking at your stats and stuff. I don't know what we were doing, but I saw the 7 years, and we were just talking. And I'm glad you feel the same way we do. I said to him, there's no way it has been 7 years. You go back to year 1, you're going into year 7. What's different about Dion in year 7 compared to Dion in year 1?
The biggest thing from year 1 to year 7, I got more haters than I ever had. I got more haters, man.
Who's hating on D-Doc, man?
And if I have more haters, like that just means I'm doing something right.
All right.
Like, like I done came to realize that I'm comfortable with myself, right?
Yeah.
I'm free with being myself. I'm blessed. I'm loved. I'm a man of God as much as I can be. You know, I try my best to be a man of God. But haters are real. Like, you know, like in this world that we live in, they want us to be perfect. The world, the fans, I get it. And I understand. But it's impossible to be perfect, you know, like we can't win every game. I can't make every block, but believe me, like if you know me and if you know the other guys on this team, we try our best. We do our best, we try our best, and we shoot to be the best. We never go out there to make a mistake and make you mad, or oh, you gave up a sack, oh, you had a holding call. I'll be like, bro, listen, dog, like I ain't perfect. I wasn't brought here to be perfect, and you know, I wasn't a first round guy. I wasn't a number 1 overall draft pick. Like I wasn't the first one off of everyone's board. Like, shoot, I'm still chasing greatness. And, you know, like, but like right now I have flakes of greatness, but you know, I'm still creating the full snowman, or if you want to call it a snowball.
I'm gonna say this, man. You have this, I like analogy talk, and you have ways to paint a picture for folks that may not understand what you're trying to say. So you paint it and you're like, okay, when you came up with that mac and cheese, we got it. We understood it. So you talk about haters, you talk about people talk about you, you talk about, like, you know what I'm saying, that you're blessed, you've been in the league a long time. So you're part of this Players Tribune, right? I F with the Players Tribune, right? But the Players Tribune comes from reading what's on Twitter, you know what I mean, feeling the vibe from Bills Mafia and X, whatever. So when you jump on the page and you start flowing, what is it that gets you, like, how do you get into the Players Tribune to say, okay, this is my next piece, this is what we're writing about?
Love, yo. It all comes from love and the heart. Like, if I didn't feel it, if I felt like the fans don't deserve it, I'm not gonna do it. And the fans are like, they're still on my good side. Like the Mafia is still on my good side, because I try to tell, you know, people like I know my worth. I know what I am. I know who I am. And there is no other player, and that's like me, in the community, with people smiling, friendships, respect, not caring about a blue check, not caring about a $60 million contract, not caring about Pro Bowls. Like, I'm just a regular dude, and I treat people normal. But, you know, like, I'm still in that I love you like attitude. So as long as I got that I love you like attitude, I'm gonna continue to give this fan base everything that I have. And when I don't, like, y'all will feel it. Like, y'all will feel it, and I'll make you feel it. And then you'll understand what I'm talking about. But and right now, I mean, like, we still good. We still thumbs up, you know, still thumbs up.
I'm so glad you're talking about this, because one, I didn't know that existed for you at all. Two, if it does exist, they don't know you at all.
Of course not.
They don't know you worth a damn.
Yeah.
You see that, and I'm so glad that you recognize that you know yourself over that.
Yep.
But even with that, this is something that I can't imagine. Being an athlete like yourself, it's almost like it's carte blanche. You just say whatever you want to these guys. You can just say whatever you want. You can't do that to anybody else. But, oh, Dion's an athlete. You can just say whatever we want to him. What's it like having to navigate that type of lifestyle, knowing nobody else has to go through that?
I take it for like what it is, you know, like I'm blessed to be in a position that I'm in, and some things are just gonna come with it. It's hard, you know, like, because I'm a media guy. I like the camera. I love the camera. Love it. I love everything about it. TikTok, Instagram, Reels, lives, everything. All, like, I love it. Like karaoke's, I love it. And because I love it, it's hard to hide and shy from it, because you're seeing what's going on that timeline all day long.
Yeah.
And to navigate through it, you know, like you try to see it. The thing, and that sucks, is like when you see the good stuff, you keep scrolling, right? You just keep scrolling, and it feels good. It feels good, but you see it. And then the bad stuff, but you see it, you scroll a couple times, and then it gets you. And like, I've learned in my career now that I won't be that guy to continue to scroll with the good stuff and the bad stuff. I just let it be there. And if I see one thing, I just let it be. And then I push it right. You know, if I see a good thing, I know it's a plus and not a minus. I push it left, you know, and I don't add up the plus with the negatives, or the minuses, you know.
Because the minuses always seem to weigh more. That's the problem.
Of course.
You see 1,000 good,
Yeah.
right? It's always that minus.
It's always that one.
Yeah, always.
And the thing about me is I'm so real. As when I do see a minus, I'll be like, bro, like in my mind, I'll be like, I wish that I could just have like a hotline where I could just let you call in and ask me what you want to ask me. Because if you want to know what happened here or why I did this or what happened here with this game or in this game and whatever, talk to me, bro. Like you sitting in your basement and you on your couch, fat as hell, eating a bowl of ice cream with no wife, no kids, no girlfriend, no nothing, corny, no pictures, just a profile with 0 followers, and you follow me or you follow the Bills and every player there, but you're just ratting, talking. I want to get on a FaceTime with you and let's talk, bro. And let's talk because I want to know like how you really feel. And now that you get the opportunity to talk, let's talk it out.
So I like that. Let's talk it out because I'm gonna give you a platform. You can do that, right? And, Aaron Rodgers hops on with, Kyle Brandt.
That.
Yeah, I say Kyle Brandt. Aaron Rodgers with Pat McAfee. You got Josh Allen with Kyle Brandt. We got to get Dion Dawkins on the Buffalo Fanatics. You got something to say. The mic is yours. That's up to you if you want to do that. But now I want to let's flip it to the light side, right? We don't want to talk about that. Haters are gonna be around. Feel me? So 2 Pro Bowls, right? You amongst one of the best in the game. Left tackle is not a joke. You're protecting number 17. 17. I'm watching him walk around. He looks a little chiseled this year. He looked like he been extra into the gym. Like, what is it like protecting number 17, man?
Yeah, pep in his step, man.
Pep in his step for real.
For sure. Protecting like 17, it's an honor, you know. It's an honor. Actually, in practice today, I was telling him, like, bro, like, you make my life easy and hard at the same time. Like, for a guy like Josh, he's gonna get us out of situations, but because he is who he is, when you're in the pocket, just to bring you in the mindset of an O-lineman or a left tackle specifically, right? I protect his blind side. So everything that I do, I protect basically from my cylinder. I look at triangles. I'm here to here. Everything here is I got you, right? And me knowing that everything that I do is based, or anything that I do will affect what he does.
Absolutely.
I make sure that I do it right, or I try my best, right? But protecting him is like, like when he's running around and stuff like that, like I'm protected. I don't know if Josh is coming here or coming here or coming here or coming here. So that could be difficult, but I don't complain because it's more pluses than minuses, So every other play, cool. Josh is doing his thing, jumping over guys. He's close, but fuck it. Like, who cares? But it's truly an honor, because I look at people like Jim Kelly and all these Hall of Famers and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, I'm protecting a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Heck yeah, you gotta talk on that, vision.
Like I'm protecting a Hall of Fame and quarterback, and I'm his first left tackle. Like I'm his guy. Like I've been his guy since his career started, and I don't take it lightly. So because he's that boy, I'm that boy. So regardless of how anybody wants to view it, like I've been his left tackle from his first snap in the NFL.
That's
like
big.
To his last.
Yo, that's big, man.
Like whatever you want to say about it. I've never got the man. I mean, like I don't even want to.
We don't even talk about it. Don't even mention that.
But it's just like I did what I had to do, which makes him be able to do what he does. And I don't want no credit from it. I don't want no credit. I am blessed in many ways. The people love me. I have my swag. I got my snow. I'm cool, bro. Watching him succeed is the best thing for me. When he is on TV and he's doing his thing and he's shining, everybody's all up in Josh's face, I just smile and I'm like, and I walk away. Like, bro, and I'm happy. Like, even looking at him, like, record the TV commercial, like, I'm looking at him and I'm like,
it's crazy.
You're about to bring a tear to my eye.
Like that's my guy, bro.
Yeah.
And he's younger, so I look at him like a younger, older brother, but that's my little bro. Like that's my guy. Everything that he's doing, I steal a little piece of it because I know I've had a part of it, and I'm one with 4 other guys. Together we're a chain, right? Like pieces move, but I've been blessed that I've been right there ever since, and I take it with the most respect, the most love, the most passion. Because like when it's all done and when I leave here, like I'm gonna get him to sign something and I'm gonna get it tatted. That's Josh Allen, bro. That's and my bro, and that's life, and it's real. It's not fake, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. Like that's why this show shit is real.
Yeah,
like it's me, it's him. It's all of us. It's y'all. It's both of y'all. Like y'all have been here since day one.
Facts.
Since day one. And it's been what it is. Like I got Dan, I got AJ, I got just Dishin. Like those boys have been with me since day one. Y'all have been with me since day one. I've been with Josh since day one. I take it with the utmost respect and love.
Before we wrap up, I just want to piggyback on that because when you look at the offensive line, it's the immediate correlation to a quarterback's performance. And oftentimes you are looked at as the unrecognized aspect of that game.
Yeah.
The way you're talking right now about Josh Allen, this has nothing to do with the game. You can just tell it's got nothing to do with the game. This is just real. That's your brother. How does that, I don't see how it couldn't, but how in your mind does that immediately translate into how you play every snap, just the way you feel about the guy right behind you?
But you think about it, right? Like an analogy way, if y'all have children, like I know you have kids, or you have a kid, right?
I got 4, boy.
4.
I got 4. Yeah.
But you got kids. You got kids?
Not yet.
Right. So just try to hear it, right? Like you have kids. Like if your kids were your quarterback, how would you play? Right? If your kids were on the field, if your kids were at a gun range, if your kids were in an MMA fight, if your kids were in a rugby match, if your kids were in a paintball game, anything where you gotta protect your people.
Done.
How are you finna act? And it's gonna show on and off in the field. Every dinner, every wing bite, every blue cheese dip, every toast, every beer chug, every whatever.
Yep.
Like you're gonna feel it. And that's just what it is. Like I had a chance to birth this greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a piece of that, right? I have a piece of that.
It's dope.
Regardless of where that career goes, I have a piece. When people were talking about MVP and people are talking about Super Bowl run and people are talking about playoff, AFC championship game, that's my son.
I like
Respectfully, but not sunning him, not putting him down, but that's my son. That's my dog.
It doesn't get better than that.
It doesn't get better.
Thank you so much. And just to reiterate, if you're hating on him, you don't know why.
No, please hate. Hate. Do it.
Because clearly it's working.
Give him fuel. He wants fuel.
Yeah.
Hate on that.
That's how it be, man. You already
Let's
know the vibe.
Let's go.
Dion, appreciate the time as always, brother.
Dion Dawkins, everybody. By the way, Rico had to go to work. He's still on the night shift, but he gives his love, and he wanted to say thanks for everybody who tuned in tonight. A couple things on the Dion Dawkins interview there. One, look, the one thing I really appreciate about Dion Dawkins, the one thing I probably love the most about him, and the one reason why I think he's probably one of my all-time favorite players, and I think I might be a bit biased. I've sat down with him like that numerous times, and every time it is my favorite moment. Like every time I know I'm going to be able to talk to him, I just eagerly anticipate it. I can't wait to do it because this is a league, a profession where you are almost encouraged. I don't want to say lie is the best way to put it because you're not trying to maliciously deceive anybody or be a bad person, but this is a profession where you are better off saying the politically correct thing in order to move on to the next question, to the next question, and then have it be done. No criticism, no backlash. And with that entails really no ability to express who you are as a person, your character, who you are on the inside. Whether you like the guy or not, the one thing you can't call him is fake. And the one thing that you have to call him is 100% real. The guy tells you everything that he's feeling in that moment. Now, I don't think when he brought up the haters, the reason you saw me initially kind of laugh pretty hard, I thought he was joking. Truly. I have never, obviously you go on Twitter, oh, Dion, what are you doing? We can't get a hold on in that scenario. We do that all the time. But that's everything. I do that. We do that with ourselves, right? You know, Like last week with me. It's like, oh, Z-Bot, you can't say that about that Oliver. You said something else about him another time. Whatever. We all do that. It doesn't mean you're hating on the guy. When you're looking at him as the person, and then you're kind of talking to him about what he goes through, he's seeing all the things that I never knew existed, right? I've never seen, and I'm on Twitter a lot. You guys know that. I don't really see anybody hating on Dion. But when you are Dion, you are going to see that. Unfortunately, you might actively seek it out because that's the unfortunate aspect of social media. I get it all the time on YouTube and Twitter and stuff. Even just me, a fraction of what Dion is going on YouTube and Twitter and putting yourself out there. Like he said, you are getting that criticism. You're just actively putting yourself out there. Therefore, you're going to get stuff back. I think what he said is something that nobody else will share with you because everybody in his shoes would tell you what he just said. They all see it. 99% of the guys will tell you they don't see it. They don't pay attention to it. It's a lie. And they're just saying that because they don't want to give any further attention to it. And I completely get that. But what I respect about Dion is he's honest about it. And he even shared with us that he is working actively on trying to eliminate that from his routine, even looking at that, including the positives, because we've all been there as well. You soak in the positives, it makes the negatives hurt that much worse. Then you start to compile the negatives, and it's like anything else in life. The negatives always stick out more than the positives because it's something you want to improve on, or it's something that makes you feel like crap. And that, of course, is something you hone in on. So what I loved out of that there is we got to look at something that I personally didn't know existed. I didn't think Dion got hated on. He shares with us that he did, but he also shares with us how he understands that it comes with the territory. And he also understands that this is a life that most people don't live. And it's a tough thing to navigate, because that's why I asked him what it's like living that type of life. We go through our day-to-day life. You say something bad to somebody online, and, you know, it could be a whole thing. That, you know, high school, whatever, the cyberbullying and all that stuff, it exists. It's a real thing. But for some reason, you're allowed to just go online and say whatever you want to celebrities and athletes. And because they're, in our mind, in a realm of, I don't know, untouchability, I guess, in a realm that we just don't see ourselves in. We don't think that it affects them. We don't think that they see that, but they do. And I thought his honest opinions there and the way that he was able to kind of navigate it in his own words, you know, the way only Dion can. I mean, that's the best part about him. You sit down with him, he's rapping, he's doing this and that. You crack a joke with him, he immediately flips it on your head to where you're the butt of the joke, which I thought was hilarious. By the way, though, I had to say that to him because we saw his shoes, and my God, I mean, those shoes. You've never seen anything like it. These shoes, there's a reason I saw them. I did a double take. I'm like, my God, I just knew for a fact it had to be Dion's. I mean, these O-linemen in person, man, it is insane. The one thing outside of the whole hater thing and him kind of talking on that, the one thing I absolutely loved him getting into there is him touching on where he's at in his career and him kind of reflecting on it all in a nutshell with us as he sat there. I could not believe that he was going into year 7, even though I knew it. I was doing a piece. I think I was doing it for Joe Marino's top 10 most important Bills players there. And I was looking into the numbers, and I legitimately did a double take when I saw Dion Dawkins was going into his 7th year. And I think someone mentioned it in these comments earlier. And I think this is probably why it was so jarring to me. He is the only remaining offensive player from the Tyrod Taylor era. That's why it feels like, in a way, it feels like that was a lifetime ago, and you almost don't remember that Dion was on that team. You only remember him with Josh Allen. I think it is incredibly special to be in the shoes that he is in, and he recognizes that. He is Josh Allen's longest, most tenured lineman. He's the only one on this entire team who has been on Josh Allen's offense for every snap. And could you not just tell the way he was saying it? And that's why I love him so much, because he'd tell you otherwise. What he's saying is from the heart. Dude, that guy loves Josh Allen, man. And I think that speaks on a couple of things. One, I think that speaks on who Josh Allen is. You saw Dawson Knox in the interview prior saying that how Josh Allen, like we were talking about earlier, A-list celebrity. He's the face of the franchise, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. What did Dawson Knox say? He's still one of the funniest guys on the team. He's still the guy cracking all the jokes. Love hearing that. Love it. Because we hear things about, I always use this as kind of the example, but unfortunately this has been the example as of late. That's an Aaron Rodgers, where it's just like terrible time getting along with young players, new players. He's not around busting jokes with those guys, getting them involved, making them feel like they're part of a team. That was one of the bigger issues on his way out for Green Bay. To hear that about Josh Allen, just an extra thing that you have to love. But the one thing you hear about from Dion Dawkins that kind of brings that full circle. Not only does he love him because he's been on the same team as him for this long and he's been protecting him for every snap he's played, but he loves him for the person that he is. Dion Dawkins absolutely loves Josh Allen. And I can't emphasize this enough. We think that all these guys on all these teams are best buddies. They hang out all the time. They're like second family. I'm sure you've heard it before, but Tom Brady played with Bill Belichick for over 2 decades. They didn't have a relationship outside of the field. Those guys won more Super Bowls than anybody will ever see in multiple lifetimes. They had no relationship off the field. And you got a guy right there, Dion Dawkins, who's protecting Josh Allen on every snap. And when they get off that field, he loves them as a person just as much as he loves them as a guy playing behind him who just so happens to be one of the best players in the league. I just think that is the coolest thing. I think it really gives you a deeper look at something that I stress about this team all the time. No, they're not going to win every game. No, they're not going to do things that we love all the time. The one thing that they do time and time again, turn after turn, every opportunity that they're faced with to prove it, they do. The culture of this team is second to none. It is one of, if not the best in all of pro sports. And every time I get to talk to one of these guys or I hear something from one of these guys, it always doubles down on that. Dion gives you a perfect example of that right there. You just basically saw him say firsthand how much he loves being a Buffalo Bill, how much he loves playing with Josh Allen, and he recognizes what I think a lot of us fail to do sometimes. I talk about this on here a lot. Josh Allen is no longer the young pup. Josh Allen is now entering into that next chapter that I allude to often. Dion's aware of that. He knows who's playing behind him. He knows it. And he knows damn well that his career trajectory would probably be awfully different if Josh Allen wasn't behind him. He's aware of what is going on currently, and he doesn't take any of that for granted. He flat out tells you that he's blessed to be in the situation that he's at, and he knows it. He's not just saying that because it sounds good. He 100% believes that, embodies that, and I think that that goes all the way through this entire team. And that's why, look, you can get on Dion for a hold, like you said. You can get on Dion for a blown snap or whatever. The one thing you can't get on for Dion, I just don't know how you couldn't like him as a guy. I'll never forget last year we were doing this. We were doing the same thing last year. Me and Rico, we were doing these interviews, and we were going to sit down with Dion like we usually do. And he said, boys, I can't sit down with you because he was on his way out the door after just filming hours worth of commercials. He was on his way out the door to go to a birthday party of a little kid who just lost his father in the top shooting. That's the guy. I mean, that's Dion. And he's not doing it for clout, and he's not doing it to take an Instagram picture. He's doing it because that's just the type of guy he is. I love him for it, and he's always been more than gracious with his time with us, and he's always been very honest, transparent, and always gives us a great interview and a lot of cool stuff to dive into. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Truly do, because I think anytime we get a chance to sit and listen to Dion in a real setting like that, it's must listen for sure. So really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. This was fun. We were really looking forward to sharing these with you. Cool thing is, if you want to listen to them again, these are just the raw versions. I'm going to be completely editing them with different cuts, better audio, graphics, going to look all nice and pretty. That'll be up on YouTube later this week. Also going to chop all those individual questions and segments up into individual videos for Instagram, YouTube. So if there was a specific part of it you liked, you can go back and check those individual clips out as well. Those will be available later in the week as well. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks again to Rico for making time. Tough, man. Rico, 4 kids in the night shift. He always makes time. for me and for all of us. So good stuff. Much love, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the week. Really hope you enjoyed the show. And I'll be back with you again next week. Who knows what we'll be talking about then, but I'm looking forward to it. I will see you then. Until then, enjoy the rest of the week. And as always, go Bills. And maybe Miami Heat can get it done tonight. And maybe the Florida Panthers can get it done tonight or tomorrow. Jack Eichel, come on. I don't want to see it. Have a good night, everybody.
I know you've been working all day. Now come on, listen. If we spend some time together, we'll feel much better. It's good for you. Come on. We'll think of another place. Come with me. Let's have a smoke break. Mine is just a normal break.